Welcome to Innovate and Conversate, where we discuss the latest innovations and trends in the business world. I'm your host, Jana, and joining me today is Ms. Nelly Chaaya, Human Capital Manager at OMT. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Jana. Thank you for welcoming me.
So, to start off, if organizations want to reimagine productivity in a sustainable way, what's the first mindset shift that leaders should make?
So, productivity is not something soft, it is strategic. For decades, productivity meant one thing: output. So, more results, less time. But the problem is that that mindset was built specifically for the industrial age. Today, the most productive organizations aren't the ones with the longest schedule or the most meetings. They are the ones where people feel psychologically safe, empowered, and purpose driven. So, we are shifting from measuring activity to measuring impact. So as you know, Jana, many people just want to grow. They don't want routine anymore. So reimagining productivity is redesigning work environments to reduce burnout, remove friction, and restore meaning. So how do we fix all this and all these problems? Mainly, we should focus on people outcome and performance, not on the time spent. We should give them more autonomy at work, but at the same time, we must equip them with the right resources and tools to perform their jobs and their roles. The most essential part of all this is that we need to rebuild trust through transparency and empathy.
How do high-performing organizations actually build and maintain culture, and what's the role of HR leaders in aligning their people strategy with the business strategy?
For me, I'd rather call it today human capital, but here what it means. It's not about creating new labels, but what we need to do is that we need to stop seeing people as costs to control, but as assets to grow. So as you know, Jana, we have to tackle or to value the economic value behind our people at work. There's a big misperception of HR being the traditional HR work, dealing with administrative tasks, paperwork, and so on. This is not human capital. And today, with hybrid and work remote models, this becomes even more crucial because we cannot manage by proximity anymore and culture becomes your glue. So the most successful companies today treat their people strategy as core to their business strategy. So the people factor remains the biggest differentiator between business and technology. What is human capital management? It's about designing roles around skills and hiring based on skills. It's about working on succession planning and business continuity, creating career paths for people, working on learning and development opportunities for your people at the company. It's about empowering cross-functional communication and collaboration between individuals and departments. So mainly what we have to do, we have to shift from command and control approach to trust and enable.
What would you say are some of the most common misconceptions that organizations make when trying to retain top talent? And if you had to build a modern employee value proposition from scratch, what would you focus on?
Let's talk about the war for talent. Attracting and retaining top talent today requires more than just competitive pay. People want purpose, they want flexibility, they want a place where they can grow, a place where they belong, where they can be heard and seen, where they can be developed in terms of career, as you know. So mainly, if your EVP or employee value proposition does not speak to those core needs, you are at risk and expect that your candidates or your people will scroll right past you. And let's be clear, retention is not about making it hard to leave. It's about making people want to stay, right?
Yeah.
So all this means that we need to invest in creating career paths for people, working on compensation models, learning opportunities, fostering a healthy workplace and a positive culture where people can belong and feel psychologically safe, like we mentioned at the beginning of our episode. So these are factors that we need to take into consideration. There's one emerging trend that I love and personally have at my organization that is called the boomerang employee, if you know about it. It is when someone leaves the organization but chooses to return. That's the ultimate vote of confidence in your culture. So ask yourself, if your people are leaving today or if you are losing talent, ask yourself why. Are we truly listening to our employees? Are we providing on our promises? Are we building loyalty or just compliance? And are we taking action and thinking forward? Besides, there are now different generations at the workplace, whereby each generation has its own interests, mindset, and skill set. So leaders and human capital team must tailor their communication to cover the gap between those generations, not only their communication, but as well their leadership style. And on the other hand, we have a shortage in talent. It's like the race for talent worldwide, not only in specific countries, but it is actually worldwide. So what we need to do and what leaders need to do today, in addition to HR people or human capital, they should focus on the people potential and work on developing this potential for the future.
So before we wrap up, what's one key message you'd want our listeners to walk away with about the future of work?
So where does this leave us? It is important to re-highlight that productivity is not about hours, it's about impact. Human capital is not about headcount, it's about people development and potential. Talent attraction and retention is not about perks, it's about trust, growth, and purpose. And at the end, I would like to repeat that. Ask yourself today, if your top performers left the organization, would your organization be a place they would want to return to? That's the benchmark of culture, leadership, and value alignment in today's workplace.
Ms. Nelly, this brings us to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jana, for welcoming me again.
Thank you to our listeners for tuning in. We'd love to hear back from you on which topics you would like for us to discuss next. Until next time, stay innovative and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.